over 300 terrorists are behind bars, according to the court judgment the other day, and the list of terrorism financiers in the country have been released by the government. We are also waiting to see action from the government in arresting those people, in freezing those entities, and prosecuting them, taking them to court. They go through the judicial process. Whatever decision the court reaches based on the evidence before them, then let government implement that. Whatever this terrorist group does is they have two options. Option one, at the field, if there is exchange of gunfire, if you have opportunity to eliminate them, you eliminate them there. That ends the matter completely, and they are out of the street. Option two, if they surrender or you're able to grab them alive, you send them to detention, from there to court, from court to prison. That's the two things that is done. I've not seen where in any country they say they are rehabilitating and reintegrating them into the society. Terrorists, not just a criminal, terrorist. I've not seen where it's done. And they should, any prison where they keep those over 300, they sentence to the prison. They should fortify security there, because obviously their group member will come for them. They will come for them for prison break. Hello, my people. Welcome to my channel. This is Andy Media TV. Today, we're going to look into one of the good news, that has happened within this Bola Tinubu administration in Nigeria. You recall there was a period, I think that was like last week or thereabout, the social media was agog, that the federal government has brought in about 1,000 terrorists into the federal capital territory in Abuja. I think somebody was even arrested or something like that. But that information was, there and trended, but I think few days back, we now understood, what really transpired in that thing, because I've tried to put one and two together and begin to understand that some terrorists were convicted, about over 300 of them. I think about 384 or thereabout. I can't remember exactly, but I know it's over 300, were convicted in the court of law in Abuja. So I think if I'm relating it properly, I think that those information that, terrorists was brought into Abuja, those guys are the people that definitely were tried in the court. So I think instead of the judges, to go to the locations where they are for them to pass the judgment and all of that, how risky it can be. They can even be in court, and their group members may, waylay them in court and all of that. So I think that's basically the reason why they were brought into Abuja, so that it will be convenient and easier for the judges to be able to do that, and where they can guarantee, more better security for, the judicial officers. So I think that's, to my own, perspective, is what may have led to that influx of, those group of people that came in at that time. Not necessarily that they came to attack, but they are coming for their hearing in court. There was an accelerated hearing, by the Nigerian government on most of those cases. And to the glory of this administration, President Bola Tinubu's administration, about over 300 of them were convicted on that day. Some have 5 years imprisonment, 20 years, depending on their role, in this whole terrorism that's going on in Nigeria. Some of them I read, in the papers, was that some were in possession of drugs. I think they were the ones supplying them all this codeine, tramadol, and the rest of them. While some are supplying them logistics, like the fuel they use to power their motorcycles and all of that. Some are informants. Some also even know their movement, but they didn't relay it to, the Nigeria security operatives and, all of those stuff. So different person, different reason they are there, and different conviction for some of them. So over 300 of them were convicted, and that's good news. So that's exactly what we're talking about. When you don't kill them in action, you grab them, try them in court, sentence them to prison. That's the way these guys are treated. And most of them, their prison are supposed to be maximum prison, where it will be difficult for them to escape. So I think in this one, I'll say kudos to the federal government for, at least putting them, behind bars. Since if they're behind bars, there'll be less, impact that they'll be giving to society, where they always attack. And again, another report that the federal government has named the financiers of terrorism in Nigeria. In the list, they have about 48 individuals and about 12, companies, 12 entities who are, funding all these, terrorism that's going on in the country, according to, the government. And then I recall that some years ago in Dubai, some Nigerians were arrested and prosecuted in Dubai for funding terrorism, and they were jailed in Dubai. And since then, this list was released. That was under Buhari's administration. Since then till now, this list didn't make it out. It was not released. Nobody knows who they are. And terrorism financing continues unabated. I remember the then chief of is it Army staff, or then who is now the minister of defense, saying it that these guys are, internationally funded and all of that. It's not far from the truth. We know that it's not just domestic funding. There's foreign, funding, but it's the duty of the government to track those funding. Where are they coming from? By who? That you have the technology. And I recommended them, they can partner with the FBI. FBI have the technology to track all this. Even if it's coming through Bitcoin, they can track it and know who has the wallet and all of that. They have it. That's why there's collaboration through Interpol and all of that. So I don't know, but one thing about government is when they want to do something, they will just do it. But when they don't want to do something, forget it. No matter what you say, they're not gonna do it. So Nigeria has clamored for this list to be released so that we know who and who are the enemies of the country. But finally, they released the list. They have 48 individuals and about I think 12 companies as well. So that's what it is. But the question now remains: what happened next? They're gonna kind of confiscate their assets, asset freeze. They freeze their asset. They will have access to banking and all of that. And most of this thing they do is not just coming to the bank. Most of this thing goes through Bureau de Change. Some of them open Bureau de Change. From there, they are doing all this transaction. This MSB, money service businesses, as they call it in America. And we have the Hawalada system, where it's a non-conventional, system. You give dollar to this person, and the other person at the other end, gives the party, the beneficiary, the dollar. Then later the other two will reconcile themselves and something like that. So it's not trackable, because there's no official platform for the money to move from one place to another. You have all the trade-based, money laundering system through which they, move these monies and then channel it to terrorism and stuff like that. So all these things are there. But the point is, how prepared are the Nigerian government to be able to track all these things? That's the main issue. So these are the things I want to look into in this video, and then we draw conclusion from there. So guys, if you are new to this channel, please kindly like and share this video, and also subscribe to my channel and put on your notification bell so that when my next new video drop, you'll be among those that will be notified. Let's get this video as it is hot. Support this channel for this channel to grow. Okay, now that over 300 terrorists are behind bars, according to the court judgment the other day, and the list of terrorism financiers in the country have been released by the government. We are also waiting to see action from the government in arresting those people, in freezing those entities, and prosecuting them, taking them to court. They go through the judicial process. Whatever decision the court reaches based on the evidence before them, then let government implement that. And I know for government to come out to mention names, I hope they have the necessary documentations to match their claim and be able to nail these people in the court of law. Anybody involved in terrorism financing should be put behind bars and the key thrown away, because I can't count how many people that these terrorist guys have killed, how many people they have maimed, how many people they have kidnapped and destroyed, and there are many people that can't come out from the PTSD they got when they were taken and all of that, even if they escape. So these are traumas people go through, say traumatic experience. So they don't deserve liberty. Those people are supposed to be behind bars. That's the way it's done across the globe. America cannot catch a terrorist and say they are rehabilitating them. No, they catch you, send you to Guantanamo Bay or to send you to El Salvador prison. You go there and stay. That's the maximum for tough criminals. By the time you spend years there, your brain will reset. If you finally come out, God knows when. So that's my position on that. Whoever is involved in crime and criminality, terrorism and all of that, should face the music, face the law. That's it. So it is what it is. So for government to have achieved that feat, that finally what the Buhari administration was unable to do, this administration did it. So kudos to them for sentencing those ones, and also kudos for them to releasing this terrorist financing list. And at least Nigerians will be able to identify those and those who are their enemies, because anybody funding terrorism in our country is our enemy. So, and we have to treat them as such. So government will sanction them, freeze their assets, and then prosecute them. That's the way it's done. So if you don't frozen their assets, they will still have the capability to be, sending money across, each terrorist group to be able to disrupt the peace of the country. So that's the position on that. So having, kind of giving them kudos for what they did, I saw a worrisome video, from Arise News stating that the government has kind of pardoned and rehabilitated 744, terrorist group. This, when you hear terrorists, it's a generic name for all of them, drawn from different groups, ISWAP, Lakarowa, ISIS, Boko Haram, and what have you, so put together. So now, when I saw that video, I was like, this is kind of becoming to be counterproductive. You just jail 300 and something. You are releasing 700 and something. I don't get it. So they say it's from Operation Safe Corridor. It's the other part of the end of the, thing. If they hit them, if there are people that, surrender or they capture them, they push them through the Operation Safe Corridor in terms of trying to de-radicalize them and process them through, a rehabilitation process and all of that. According to what they were saying, that some of them have undergone some training, sewing, tailoring, what have you. So at the end of the day, they will integrate them to the society. That is the point. So I was worried, of that because I don't understand the basis and the genesis and the reason why this will be happening. I don't really understand. Anyway, before I talk into that, let's watch the video so that we'll follow, the direction I'll be going. We'll be right back.
Let's begin what's trending with the flood of mixed reactions to the military announcing on Thursday that a crop of 744 former terrorists are now set for reintegration back into society after having graduated from the government's de-radicalization, rehabilitation, and reintegration camp under Operation Safe Corridor in Gombe State. Now, here's what we know. The graduates completed this 24-week program organized by the Defense Headquarters where they were taught skills, including carpentry, barbing, tailoring, and even baking. According to the military, this program shouldn't be seen as a reward for violence, but instead as a tool to curb terrorism.
Let me also emphasize that Operation Safe Corridor is not an amnesty program, and it is not a sign of weakness. It complements military operations by addressing the human terrain of conflict, reducing recidivism, thus relapsing back to former criminal actions.
Now, this was all under the Operation Safe Corridor program, which was created by the military about 10 years ago in response to Boko Haram. Now, it's underscored by this idea that lasting peace can't just be achieved through military force, but it has to be combined with reintegrating terrorists that are willing to walk away from a life of violence. But big picture, it's been really controversial as it raises the broader question of who gets to be forgiven in society, and do the states and federal government actually have the capacity to ensure that these individuals won't end up reverting back to criminality.
All right, welcome back. So you saw what happened in the video, had the army officer there speaking and all of that. But to me, I think that Operation Safe Corridor, if that's what they do in the Operation Safe Corridor, so Hadin Kai, we go to the field, attack these guys or repair them or kill them or at the end capture some of them if they do, and then they move them to Operation Safe Corridor. Operation Safe Corridor's responsibility will now be to kind of rehabilitate them and then, put them through some skill acquisition and all of that. Where does that happen globally? That's what I want to really understand. So from where are they drawing this inference from? Because anybody that pick up arm against the state or citizens of the state is an enemy of the state. And I've not seen anybody who, gets his enemy and bring him close to him. No, everybody wants to put his enemy away from him. That's the nature of a man. So, but in this regard, now, these same guys, they are so uniform for now. They want to release into the society. They have killed people, maimed people, destroyed families, destroy people's businesses and career, stolen from people through ransom and whatever means, and so on and so forth. And suddenly, you told us that within 6 months they are in the Operation Safe Corridor. You have changed them to the point that they are now mentally okay, stable, to fit into the society and become useful in the society. That is what I'm trying to question. And since they started this Operation Safe Corridor, the ones they have brought out and integrated, how far have they gone? How was their follow-up on those groups to know how they fit into the society? Are they doing what is expected of them, or have they gone back to their vomit? Because one thing with these guys is that they are joining terrorism or any terrorist group is not based on anything. It is majorly based on ideology. And for you to change somebody's ideology, it's going to take you a whole lot. It requires the help of God for you to change somebody's ideology, what somebody believes in and stand in, for you to change that person to, change his mind. It's going to take you a whole lot. It's not what you do in 6 months. That is the truth. So if Operation Safe Corridor is telling us that in 6 months, they have changed these people, they are mentally stable, they can reason properly like a normal human being, they can function in the society, and they can, be able to forget the act of, terrorism they have done in the past. It's difficult to believe. Even somebody who is addicted to drugs and all these things, you can't go through rehabilitation in 6 months, you are fine. No. They will relapse within 6 months. So that's the point. So where are the statistics telling us that in so year, so number of repentant Boko Haram, as they call them, were rehabilitated and integrated into the society. 2 years after, this is where they are. The ones that let's show it now. Look at their shop. Look at what they are doing. This is that. They are even employing labor and all this. There's no record of that, no monitoring and evaluation report showing or detailing how this transformation and rehabilitation is working, how the reintegration into society is working. Now, some of these soldiers who are in the battlefield, they see these guys kill their friends. They see this guy kill their mates. They see this guy maim them. Some of them are now in the hospital with gunshot wound on their legs. Some are amputated. Some their hands were cut off because of the injury they sustained and all of that. And tomorrow, they will hear that these same people who put them in that condition on a wheelchair is now sewn uniform by Nigerian government, fed by Nigerian government, and integrated in society. The question is, why should the army and all these people be in the battlefield in the first place? Why should they be killed? How many generals have we lost recently? And the colonel. So how many? And when they kill all these people, make their family, their wives widows, and make their children not to have a father, you now catch them, you integrate them, and put them back into the society. I don't think it's the right step. Because in the United States, you're a terrorist, they treat you as one. You can see the president of America, President Donald Trump. The moment he came on board, he declared all drug traffickers as terrorist organization. I don't even think if they have arrested them or something. What did he do? The moment they are moving their products to the sea, they've bombed them straight on. So that's the way he treats them. Terrorists are treated as terrorists. You don't, kind of talking about rehabilitation and reintegration of a terrorist into the system after 6 months of, whatever you people are doing in the Operation Safe Corridor. It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. Because most of these people, they are ideology based. Ideology based. And even if they, grab you on the street and, compel you to join their group and you join them and start killing, taking drugs and all these things, then it's going to take you a while for you to even come out of that mental state. Because all you now know is to kill. That's it. And some of them are addicted to drugs. Children of 14 years, 12 years, they are taking codeine, tramadol, and all this, high dose of drugs that keep them high. That's why when they go into a community, they start shooting sporadically, killing anybody they see, using machete to machete people's head. They are not just doing it with their clear eyes. They are already on high dose of drugs. The people that were jailed, some of them are supplying drugs to them. So you now say in 6 months, you have cleaned that person up from the drugs. You have cleaned that person up from his mental state of killing. You have, changed the person overnight. I don't think this thing is making much sense to me. So what other countries do is when they catch a terrorist, maybe there was a terrorist attack somewhere and the security agencies intervene. Either they kill the person on the spot, during exchange of fire, or they arrest the person. The moment they arrest the person goes to, detention, from detention to court, from court, the person is sentenced, and the person goes to the prison where he has been sent to. He goes there and spends his years there and serve his time. That's how other people do. I've never heard in America that they caught a terrorist who went and shoot school students or who drove a vehicle into a crowd and they caught the person and they sent him to Operation Safe Corridor, rehabilitated him in 6 months and reintegrated him into the society. I've never heard of it in the United States. I've never heard of it in the UK. You will just be sentenced, you go to prison. If there is parole for you and you serve to the point of parole, they give you parole based on good behavior and what have you, then that's fair enough. But at least you are going there first. And most of them, they don't get all those parole and all these things for terrorism. If it's ordinary crime, and all that, yes. But for terrorism, I don't think there's anything parole. If they sentence you for 30 years, you will spend 30 years there. They sentence you for life, you will stay there alive till you die. And it will be in a maximum security prison where you cannot escape. And my fear now is that these over 300 guys, they just sentenced to prison. I don't know which prison they're going to put them. Anywhere they put those guys, just expect prison break soon. Because their groups will go for prison break to release them, to take them away. So how secured is our prison? Even the officers working there, do you know how many who are apologists to these terrorists, who will give them information and all of that? So we have seen how they came to Abuja one time, break Abuja prison in Kuje, and they took their members. Nothing happened. No gunfire exchange between them and the security agencies. They just came, have the field day, took their guys and left. That's why when people were suspecting the government, that's like they had a deal with this terrorist group to come and take their people, but act it as prison break. It circulated that time. That rumor was there at that time because of the way and manner the whole thing happened. No repelling from security agencies. They just came in as if it's their own yard, did everything. They did break fence, took their guys and left. Prison break. So expect that in this same situation. We are over 300, except if the 300 that was locked up now are not too useful to them. That's when they may decide to forget them there. But if they are useful to them in terms of logistic planning and all these things, you will see what will happen very soon. So we have seen it before, so it's not new. So that's the point. So government, they do good one side, they will spoil their good in the other side. What's the essence of releasing those people, rehabilitating, and how can you rehabilitate a terrorist? That's the question I'm asking. I've not had anywhere in the world where they catch terrorists and rehabilitate them. No. But there are people now who are just traveling. Police stop them on the way for no reason. They just put them in cell. There are people just for stealing mobile phone now. They are in cell for just mobile phone. There are people just because they spoke to one politician, they arrest them, put them in prison. There are many Nigerians who are waiting trial in the prison for years for minors stealing fowl in their neighbor's compound. They are still in prison. But the terrorists who have killed a whole community, forced that community to vacate their community, put people in IDP camp, they are the ones that are rehabilitating and reintegrating into the society. Make it to make sense, because to me, it does not make any sense to me. That's the point. It doesn't make any sense to me. Murder is murder. So you need to treat the murder case as a murder case. And what does the law say? Life imprisonment, or whichever method, the constitution say, the person goes through it. That's how you send a message across. Then anybody who want to get into that, we know this is the fate that befalls me, and the person will stay away. But if you are doing rehabilitation, then the terrorists can just come in, kill people, see the army, he drop his gun, raise his hand and said, I surrender. I want to leave. They force me to join. I want to leave. They take you, and you have killed people, wasted the whole family. It doesn't make sense. So Nigerian government, this is your Operation Safe Corridor. To be honest with you, I don't really like what you guys do there. Terrorists are not meant to be rehabilitated and reintegrated in society. Terrorists are meant to be tried, jailed. When they serve their term, you release them. That's how it's done. So go and study globally. Nobody plays with anything called terrorism. It's a serious menace globally. And that is why there are some certain crimes, right, or certain groups who may be doing one thing or the other in the country, threatening the peace of the country, creating dangers in the country. The first thing they do is to tag that group, a terrorist group. The moment they tag them as terrorist group, they will hit them hard. At that point, the law will somehow be suspended somehow. They deal with them as worst enemies. That's what Trump is doing in America. People pushing drugs into the country, they tag them as terrorist group because the drug they are selling in the country is destroying lives of their citizens. And that's how he's bombarding them. Anywhere you see them with drugs and anything, they blow them up. They don't arrest, they blow them up. So those ships or boats carrying drugs in the sea, they are blowing. Is it that they can't pursue them and arrest them? They just blow them on the boat. They go to the America and then they rehabilitate them in heaven. That's what they do to them. So why is our case always different? Some will say, no, they are our brothers. Like the chief of, defense staff or army staff the other day was talking. They are still our brother. The prodigal son issue, we have to. No, my brother cannot be beheading me. My brother cannot be shooting sporadically, killing my family members. My brother will not do such things. My brother will protect me, make sure I'm safe. So anybody who is wielding AK-47, shooting in your compound, killing your family, kidnapping you when you are traveling, just look at the students going for their JAMB exam. They were kidnapped, 14 of them, in Benue, a few days ago. Who is doing that? Tomorrow, army will catch them and they send them to Operation Safe Corridor. And they have denied those children from writing the JAMB exam. They have lost 1 year automatically. So even if they release them after paying ransom, they will no more write JAMB this year until next JAMB. Their future, post, the trauma they go through. And one day, you say they are rehabilitating the people. So General Oba that they killed, Brahimo they killed the other day, Brigadier General, the colonel, they lay mines for them the other day. Their wives now, assuming the people who did that are among these rehabilitated criminals, how will their wife feel? Their children, how will they feel that this person killed my father and government is treating him with, as if he's a prince of the country? We are not thinking about that. Every sin has consequences. So whatever you do, it has consequences. So they should feel the consequences, not treating them as if they are the prince of the country. So my point is very simple. Commit a crime, face the law. Not commit a crime, get rehabilitated, get reintegrated. No, that's it. Then why do we have constitution? Why do we have a law? They can be there. President can give them presidential pardon if he wants. That's a different thing. But follow the law. Catch them, sentence them to prison. So I don't know. I was just giving them kudos for, releasing the name of the terrorist financiers, sentencing over 300, terrorists to prison the other day, and then you are releasing 744, more than double of the ones you sent to prison. What guarantee do you have that when you release them and put them back to the society, that they will remain in the society and not go back with this hardship in the country, with this current cost of living? If they can't survive, they go back to where they are coming from. And then you've increased their manpower to attack the citizens. That's the point. So in abroad, you commit crime, they take you out, lock you up. You are out. The moment you are out of the street, peace reigns, at least -1. That's the way it's done. I don't know people that's advising the government in this their safe corridor thing they are doing. No, it's not a good idea for me. It's not a good idea. So what justification do they have to keep those people who stole fowl in their neighbor's house, who stole handset, who stole generator, that are still languishing in prison, awaiting trial for 5 years, 6 years? Most of them are there. They say you bought stolen phone, you bought stolen car, you bought stolen this. They are in prison. Not stolen. It's a minor crime. It's a minor misdemeanor, minor crime. But they are in prison for years. Not to talk of somebody who did murder. No, he murdered people. And you release that person. But the person who stole generator or who bought stolen product is in the prison. It's not making sense. It's not. So, well, I don't know. Whatever they are doing is all to them. But that's my point of view, that whatever this terrorist group does, is they have two options. Option one, at the field, if there's exchange of gunfire, if you have opportunity to eliminate them, you eliminate them there. That ends the matter completely, and they are out of the street. Option two, if they surrender or you're able to grab them alive, you send them to detention, from there to court, from court to prison. That's the two things that is done. I've not seen where in any country they say they are rehabilitating and reintegrating them into the society. Terrorist, not just a criminal, terrorist. I've not seen where it's done. So I wish them well in whatever they are doing, but let them know that every decision they are making as leaders have implication to the country. And they should, any prison where they keep those over 300, they sentence to prison, they should fortify security there, because obviously their group member will come for them. They will come for them for prison break. But it has been happening over the years. It happened in Kujo prison, so it's not new. So that's it. So election is coming too. So most of these things you are seeing is election is coming. Accelerated here, 300 and something people in one day sentenced to prison. It's just for them, they just want to, so that when they will be doing campaign, they also be telling you that insecurity, over 300, terrorists were sentenced to prison. All these things are, where were they since? Where were they since? Now, they will tell you how many that were released for the rehabilitation and reintegration. You will hear all these things I'm telling you now. They are doing now. This is what they are planning to use for the campaign for 2027. But it's not making sense to me. That's the point. Security of life and property is the paramount, interest of government, and then the welfare of the citizens. So whatever it is, I don't know, but it's not a good plan, not a good idea, rehabilitating a terrorist in 6 months. Some terrorists, Boko Haram people is ideology. And what is the ideology? Islamize Nigeria. That's the point. Convert everybody to Muslim. That's their main thing. So it's not about the other one they are saying that education is not. No. Their main goal is to Islamize Nigeria. That's it. That's what happened to Shia, Leah Sharibu. They kidnapped them from school in Dapchi, remember? And the other girls denounced their Christian faith and joined Muslim. That's why they were released back home to go home. Ria Sharibu refused to denounce her religion, her Christian religion, and they held her back. Today, now, I think she has given birth to many children with them. They're still living with the terrorists. That's how her life turned upside down, that girl. And now, tomorrow, Army will catch that person, those group who did that to that young girl. They say they have rehabilitated them and integrated into the society. Just think about it. The young girl's life was just this one. Somebody have dreams. Today is now burning children for terrorists. So when we are doing something, we think deep what we are doing, the impact on people, how we affect people, how people perceive things, and all of that. That's what we think. Life is not about just doing politics. It's not about just doing politics. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna leave it here because I'm getting somehow, upsetting when I see some kind of thing government do. So I'm gonna leave it here, but before I leave, if you are new to my channel, please like and share this video and also subscribe to my channel and put on the notification bell so that when my next video drop, you will be among those that will be notified. So don't forget that my comment section is open for you to drop your comment at the comment section. We'll continue to talk. We can't give up in our country. We'll continue to speak our mind on what we see happening and what government is doing well and where they're not doing well. That's just the job we have, to hold government to account. Be part of it. Don't join the bandwagon. Just be part of doing what is right. You may be a lone voice, but with time, your people will remember you are the person that says something reasonable at that time. So I don't care who you support. I don't care which party you support. I'm not supporting any party. I'm not supporting any politician. I'm only speaking the truth based on my conviction, on what I'm seeing, on what I've read concerning what is going on in the country. So guys, thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in my next video. I'm signing out. See you.